currently offered by OmniRide, and then we're going to go through some of the proposed new or expanded programs that we're looking at as part of this commuter assistance program strategic plan. And then we certainly want to hear from you all and have any ideas on what might be some potential partnerships or ways to work with members of your community. So just to give a brief overview on some of OmniRide's existing programs, Perrin talked a lot about the bus service and the microtransit services, but certainly that is not all that OmniRide offers. There is a lot of efforts that are underway to help people make the most out of the existing and new infrastructure through transit, ride sharing, walking, biking, and telework. So all of those modes, how can we make the most out of the service and infrastructure that's there? A couple ways that OmniRide, and this is a lot of what keeps Holly and Lakeisha busy on a daily basis, of working with ride matching services, providing assistance for residents who are interested in learning more about their travel options, as well as van pool assistance. So both incentives and strategies to help people start and maintain van pools. OmniRide is also associated with the East Coast's largest van pool program, Van Pool Alliance, which is an organization that helps promote van pooling and actually brings in revenue and helps organize those. For those not familiar, there are a lot of van pools that originate in Prince William and even further south and commute to various locations in Northern Virginia, DC. I've heard rumblings that there are actually some van pools that go from Richmond to Arlington pretty much every day. So it's an interesting way to commute where you can find people that are going your way, even if it's very long distances. So additionally, as well as the TDM and the van pool programs, OmniRide is out in the community a lot and looking to do even more of that. We are here at the Hispanic Mobility Council today. OmniRide also has a van pool and employer mobility council where members from the community are engaged in discussions and how we can work together to help get messaging out and make sure that the services are known and used in our community. I mentioned the employer programs. So regardless of your employer size, free support for all businesses in Prince William, Manassas, and Manassas Park that can work through lots of different strategies. Pre-COVID, a lot of this was focused, maybe on setting up some telework programs, and other travel programs like carpool van pool, information about biking and walking to work. But obviously after now that we have become more experienced with telework, a lot of that is focused on kind of helping adapt to a hybrid work environment, other ways to still support different transportation options for places to get for employees to get to work. There's also a program in terms of Rider Express alerts, mobile applications that are available in terms of showing real-time information about transit. And then OmniRide also offers, for those who are interested and reach out, have done what's called on-the-go travel training and youth and community engagement. These are really interesting opportunities to maybe work with a community that may not be as familiar with the transit services, get people comfortable using that, and really help people feel more comfortable. And so if those are anything that you're interested in for your constituents, please certainly reach out to Holly or the OmniRide team, and they can work on those with you. So that's a little bit of what currently exists that OmniRide has as available options. We are, as I mentioned, in the process of developing this commuter assistance program strategic plan. This is really an opportunity to look forward about a 6-year time frame. In terms of looking at a lot of data, we looked at data on demographics, on travel patterns, where people are going um, from both to and from the Prince William County area. This is a plan that is required by the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation to receive state funding going forward, which is a significant portion of OmniRide commuter assistance program funding. So it's really important we put in the ideas and the strategies that we're interested in implementing and make them part of this plan. So we have made good progress on this plan. We've developed a set of goals and objectives. We've conducted our data and market assessment, and we've identified some draft strategies that we're going to share with you today. We really want some feedback. We're meeting with some additional stakeholders next week as well. And then ultimately we'll be going to the commission for adoption of this plan. But we feel good about where it's going, but want to certainly hear any feedback that you all may have and advice for us on how we can make it most practical and implementable. I mentioned we developed a set of goals. These 4 goals are for the commuter assistance programs overall. These do come from kind of a review of OmniRide's overall strategic plan and really focus in on what this program is trying to accomplish. So some of the themes you see here, again, expanding use of alternative to SOV travel, building partnerships, supporting economic and local growth, and certainly engagement. All of those things require time, energy, and resources. And so we want to make sure that we're identifying the most effective and helpful ones and building the case for funding support for those. So as I mentioned, we did look at a lot of data to figure out where to target and what types of strategies might be most effective. To summarize kind of what we heard, what we found is at a high level, when we think about the Prince William County area, probably not a surprise to you all that many of the commuting patterns, especially for longer trips, are focused out of the county and out of the cities to other parts of Northern Virginia and DC. For those that are not, there is ample free parking at most Prince William County area employers, which can create, make it hard to have a strong case to take multimodal options. While there is a lot of transit coverage in the county, there certainly still are some areas that are not covered by those types of services. And as we were just talking about earlier today, actually before people hopped on, there's always new residents and new people and new businesses coming into the area, and really making sure that we communicate broadly and clearly about the services that are available and how to use them. You can put the best bus service out there, but if people don't know that it exists, it's not going to be very effective. But with that, there are a lot of opportunities, I think, here in Northern Virginia. There is a growing network of park and ride lots, the express lanes on I-66 and I-95. These really create opportunities if you are, especially if you are using carpool, vanpooling, or bus service to travel in those lanes for free and take advantage of that and not have to pay the tolls. There are also regional programs from entities like Commuter Connections, certainly want to leverage partners as well as different funding sources. Especially recently in the past few years, there are a lot of new funding sources that are available, some of which OmniRide already has, that can be used to expand these programs. So that's kind of at a high level. I did want to show this map because I think this is pretty interesting, and I'll explain a little bit what's happening here. So this is obviously the Northern Virginia region here. What you're seeing is travel patterns of people that are residents in the Prince William County area. So The thicker the line is the more dense of the travel patterns. So you can see a lot of those shorter trips centered around the Potomac Mills area going to there. And these are, I should say, these are work trips. So some of these are shorter, shorter work trips, but then you see a lot of commuting, again, kind of along the I-95 and along the I-66 corridor to areas like Alexandria, the Pentagon, DC, Merrifield, Tysons, up the 28 corridor. But there are those more regional ones, but we do see a high concentration as well of some of those shorter local trips. Any questions so far, or observations about this map, or anything I've touched on yet? All right. So with that, we've come to the point where we're proposing a series of new or expanded programs that OmniRide can take on. Again, these would require additional funding and resources, and in some cases staffing. So we want to make sure that we're prioritizing these. So I'm going to go through each one of these briefly, and certainly would be interested to hear your perspectives on priorities and what might be missing. So the first is about strengthening data collection and distribution. This may sound a little kind of dry and technical, but I want you to think about it, being able to answer these questions about where's my bus? Where do people get on or off the bus? One of the challenging things with bus service is, a lot of times we know where people get on the bus, because especially if there is, if they're scanning their fare for the commuter bus, but especially in places or times now that the local service is not charging a fare, it can be hard to know where people get on. And then if you think about it, when you get off the bus, there's no way to kind of track that. So OmniRide does have technology on buses to try to count passengers getting on and off, as well as understand where the vehicles are. But there are certainly opportunities to try to refine that data, get it more accurate, and make sure it's communicated broadly to the users, because people can plan their trips a lot better if they know the bus is coming in 10 minutes as opposed to, say, 40 minutes, and then they might be able to do something else. So we see this, there's definitely a lot of internal work to do this, but ultimately the product would strengthen the data that's available and help OmniRide better plan services to understand where the existing ridership is. The second one is about consolidating existing mobile applications. So OmniRide in the past few years has done a really good job of implementing some mobile applications to focus on online or mobile payment, use the microtransit service that Perrin was talking about, and to be able to locate the vehicles themselves. This information is also available on Google Maps, but one of the things looking towards the future is to try to consolidate these into kind of one-stop shop for all this information, so that people don't have to download multiple applications, transfer between, and really a lot of agencies kind of have started down the same path of they have multiple ones for ticketing and location, but then it can be confusing for the customer, and it also causes more work in the back end for OmniRide. So that is another kind of strategy, trying to consolidate the applications into kind of one more streamlined approach. The next strategy is about supporting regional van pool programs. So I mentioned about Van Pool Alliance, and another one that has been recently established is the Commuter Connections Flexible Van Pooling Program. Traditionally, van pooling required people to kind of sign up in advance and really coordinate that. The Commuter Connections is, which is the regional TDM agency, has set up a program where people can kind of choose van pools on the fly. Maybe they only need it 1 day a week, or they happen to need something one day, so they can join one kind of more on the fly. So OmniRide's role really here is to help support and promote those, especially along the I-66 corridor, as those express lanes are newer and the network of park and ride lots are growing. That certainly is another opportunity to help grow that market. Switching gears a little bit to more of the marketing and engagement items. One of the things that we noticed when we did our kind of assessment was there have been there's a lot of materials that have been shared and sent out and available that promote kind of the OmniRide services overall. But one of the best practices is really trying to understand create audience specific marketing materials. This does take a little bit more of an effort, but it really can help hone in on specific audiences, make it more appealing and understandable to specific audience for specific needs. So for example, instead of saying, hey, we have all of these commuter bus routes, here's this big map, maybe we go into one specific area that we have identified in our travel patterns, and really try to promote one specific commuter route that is relevant to those travel patterns. And if, for example, maybe that is a predominantly Spanish-speaking community, we would want to make materials in Spanish and that's accessible to them, and have representatives that are Spanish-speaking as well. So this is a little bit about kind of just trying to make sure that the materials that are provided are targeted. And so a question we had here, again, feel free to come off mute or note in the chat. Are there specific materials or specific materials or services that would be helpful to promote? And for the people that you generally work with, what are the best methods for communication in terms of getting these materials out? So I'll pause there to see if anyone has any thoughts or suggestions on that.
I can start. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put my video too. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Elisa Castillo and I work for X. My department is I work with victims of domestic violence here. And so we definitely use your service a lot. We are a lot of our clients that are in my safe house and hotel program. And one of the things that I think would be beneficial, not just for the ones that I have in our safe houses or hotels, but also for the clients that come in and as a walk-in for resources in my program, is that I think, doing outreach is definitely number one. Doing outreach and like table events about what you guys have available, that'd be very helpful. I think even dropping off brochures at different offices like pediatricians, doctors' offices are a big one, because that's where you have a lot of or your clientele that they might be taking the bus with their children or themselves. I know that has been helpful for us when we're like doing outreach about our services, because a lot of people don't know, they think Axe is just food, but we have such a variety of services here with us. And so that has been helpful. We do have a community educator that goes out and like talks about the program and educates them about the different resources that we have. So that's very helpful for us. And I think that will be very helpful if you guys, even like one of the things is we would love having brochures from you guys or anything that we can give to our clients when they come in for the first time.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thanks for the work that you do. It's very important.
Thank you.
Anyone have any other suggestions? All right, so we can move on. So The last one, number 4, was really about kind of the materials themselves and what can be created. This one's really about the engagement itself, the going out to specific events and working with partners. And this is honestly, I mean, Holly can speak to this, but you know, her team already does a lot of this, but there's only so much time in the day, and there's so many events out there and things that they would love to be able to partner on and conduct engagement with. So we really want to try to identify some additional resources and staffing to attend additional community events and help build partnerships. As I mentioned, we certainly want to include representatives of the communities that we're going to and translation services when necessary. We see this, you know, examples of places that Holly and her team have gone, you know, for, community fairs, farmers markets, libraries, you know, senior centers, grocery stores, all these types of or just community events, not necessarily, you know, at a transit stop or a transit station, but in the community, being able to share and being able to help create partners that will also help pass along the word for these services. So we see 3 major kind of target markets for this. One is just employers, especially large employers in the county and in the area. And then due to kind of the prominence and due to the prominence of you know, Spanish speakers, we certainly want to make sure that we reach out to the Hispanic communities and also, of course, for the low-income communities that tend to rely on transit and mobility services to get around and may not have vehicles available to them. So those kind of are some of our target markets with this engagement. But we, again, hoping to kind of spread that sphere of influence and help rely on others. So similarly, I don't know if anyone has either any ideas or events or programs or locations that might be good ones to attend or potential to build potential partnerships. We'd be curious to hear that at this point.
I definitely want a partnership with you guys. We do have not just the DV department, we do work with the homeless population as well. So we definitely want to have for our hunger prevention program downstairs, we have like 99% it is a Spanish population. And I think I love that part of you having the brochures in Spanish would be great. And even other languages. I don't know if you guys are planning to do that, but we do have like a lot of like Farsi clients as well, Arabic, and so on. So I would definitely I would like that. I do have a question. Can I bring that question now or
Yes,
at the end?
Yeah.
So one of the things is, are you guys doing any like are you guys connected with like the police department where for park and ride for safety for, you know, for people that are out there? I did had a situation that I had a client that was unfortunately there was an incident, so there was no police department or like an officer around or anything. Are you guys like having a security guard around those areas or anything like that?
So I can say that OmniRide does not operate the park and rides themselves.
Got it.
It is a VDOT park and ride.
Oh, it's a VDOT. Okay.
I don't know that. That's all I can. It's all.
That's why I just was wondering if you guys. Okay, thank you.
But if you have additional concerns, I would encourage you to reach out and
I can contribute to that as well. We do have a relationship with the Prince William County Police Department. We're really in tune with them to let them know where the hot spots are. Now, Virginia State Police generally has the jurisdiction over the commuter lots. So when there is an issue, we work with VDOT, we work with the county for stepped up patrols. And just like every place else in the county, they're stretched thin, so they try to patrol it as much as possible. We don't have security guards, but we try to put eyes on it through our own monitors, and we try to get people through there. So we do what we can to try to cover it, but there is a specific situation, just let us know, and we can let the county police department and Virginia State Police know if they could try to put a little bit more eyes on that particular lot.
Okay, sounds good. Quick question. I see a phone number, but I don't see a name. Can I ask you who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm on the phone here. I'm Perrin Palestrant. I'm OmniRide's Director of Planning and Service Delivery.
Okay, so all right, thank you.
Yeah, he's multitasking this morning. He's at a meeting and was kind enough to join us from a mall downtown. So, but he's a live person.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I see.
Lucas, there are two
Yeah,
comments in the
something
chat.
Okay,
The
great.
first one is effective, reliable services that gets you where you want to go. And then also best way to get Hispanic community is Hispanic Sunday services in Manassas area and Woodbridge. And also churches are a great way to get the word out.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. Those are great, great suggestions.
I just wanted to chime in real quick. Going back to you wanting some schedules for the people that you help. I manage the bulk order deliveries of new schedules, and we just got new schedules for June 5th service change. So if you want, you can send me your email address in the chat, and I can communicate with you and send you the bulk order schedules that you would like to have. And I can also add you to the mailing list to let you know when an upcoming service change is going to happen and when the new schedules will be available, so you can have those updated schedules in your place.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just put my information up, so I would definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, I'll get you added. No problem.
Thank you.
That's great. That's exactly what we want to have happen in these types of things. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so we'll move on to our next strategy here, which does relate to park and ride lots. I think probably many of you, especially in kind of the Northern County area, have probably been aware of the Express Lanes project and the large park and ride lots that were constructed as part of that. These were an intentional inclusion as part of the project to help try to promote people and using multimodal options for commuting. There's certainly the University Boulevard Park and Ride lot in Gainesville, as well as the Balls Ford lot in Manassas, and other existing ones along the corridor. And really with the new express lanes, people are still trying to figure out the best way to use them and or to travel and not have to pay the toll and not have to sit in traffic. And so we really think that there is an opportunity for a specific advertising and promotion campaign for using the I-66 corridor commuter lots, about maybe creating some specific information sheets and understanding about what commuting options are available, at each specific lot. Maybe doing some residential outreach within the vicinity of these lots to make sure that people are aware. So this is something we would want to kind of start doing on 66 because I think less kind of saturated. I think on the I-95 there have been, there's slugging and commuting that's been happening for decades, but the newer lanes on I-66 are certainly an opportunity. So as was mentioned, an important consideration with park and rides, there are certainly safety considerations that we need to make sure. But the more we can get, the more people we can get using those park and ride lots, and the more active they are, should help also make people feel more comfortable and not have it be an open area. So we want to make sure you utilize those, use the service use the bus service, the commuter service, and carpools and vanpools that go along with that. The next strategy is related to establishing the best workplaces for commuters program. So this is a national program that exists. I believe it was started in Florida, that really kind of provides some recognition to local employers and local organizations that acknowledge the transportation benefits that they provide to employers. So OmniRide is looking, beginning this calendar year, to start establishing, becoming a partner for that program and to help work with employers to enroll in those programs. One of the priorities that has been acknowledged in both county and just general strategic planning is to try to keep and maintain retain and attract employees in the Prince William County and Manassas Park area. Try to retain those to the area and make that employment as appealing as possible. And one of the ways to do that is to make sure to ensure that employers are providing resources and in some cases incentives and information that accommodates people that either choose or need to take public transit or other multimodal services to work. So more to come on that in future meetings, likely about how to get involved. The last one is a really kind of interesting and integral one, talking about first mile, last mile connection. So what that means is that oftentimes the bus stop might not be right at your house, or the park and ride lot might be not. There's a distance getting basically from the stop to your home or from the stop to your office. A lot of times, especially in the more lower density areas, that can really be a challenge to have safe pedestrian and bicycle connections. Karen also talked about microtransit as a potential first and last mile connection, especially around some of the rail stations. If people don't want to drive and go park in the VRE lots, that can be another option to serve that. So this is something certainly we would want to work with Prince William County DOT and understand how OmniRide can help support the building out of infrastructure and services that help make accessing transit safer and more convenient. Those are some of the strategies that we're considering here. And so I just wanted to leave, Holly, looks like we have about 10 minutes. I think it's okay if we just, these are some of the just kind of final discussion questions that we had. Which of these programs might seem most valuable or do you think should be prioritized? Are there ways that your organization or entity can be a potential partner? And any idea or strategy that we might have missed here that you think would be good for us to consider. So those were some of the prompt questions we had. Got a lot of good input already, but happy to take any more suggestions if there are additional ideas or feedback.
I'm going to go ahead and read from the chat. From our director of marketing, we do periodic mailings to local churches with information in English and Spanish for them to post and share with congregants. In addition, we have Spanish ads in the church bulletins of several churches with a high number of Hispanic congregants. We're working to do more. So I'll chime in on that too and say, based on what Rick is saying, and I know I've spoken to some of the folks on the marketing team about getting out and visiting some of the churches and getting points of contact there so that we can expand our outreach in that sphere. And Ms. Castillo, I'm also going to reach out to you to see if we can't come out and meet with you, because I think there might be a lot of opportunities to partner on some things, and we would love to do that.
For sure. We're a big program, so we're definitely, I also run the courts, so definitely that will be another point that I would like to have more information from you guys. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. And then from Rick too, that we are coordinating well with his team as we construct and improve park and ride lots. So thank you for that feedback too, Ms. Castillo, because that's something that we can, let folks know. The police do patrol those park and ride lots because it is a hot spot or lots of hot spots in the community. But we can always be providing them, more input and feedback. And when it comes directly from someone like yourself, then that has more impact. So we appreciate you passing that along.
There's been a lot of work, in the setting up the new parking garage and making sure also when new developments come online, to making sure that there are transit accommodations and making, especially for the higher density developments, making sure that there's
and I don't want to talk, this is Rick Canizales, and I don't want to talk for a parent, but I know that my planning group at the DOT here is doing a good job in coordinating with parent and parents group in making sure that as development comes in, we are proposing or having them proffer transit sites when applicable, as well as when we're constructing. We're doing that park and ride facility out in Potomac Town Center, and we've been coordinating with PRTC from the inception of the design to make sure that we make it a good transit hub for them. We coordinated with them as we did the improvements to the park and ride lots at Telegraph, which you see the amount of transit amenities out in that area as well. As we continue to move forward, and as we were doing our transit plan to improve our transit facilities throughout the county through the comprehensive plan, we made sure that we coordinated with PRTC to make sure that we were on the same page of what we were both looking for as transit facilities around the county. So I think we do a pretty good job coordinating with them. I just mentioned that because of the last slide kind of talks about we got to better coordinate, and I think we're right now. I've been working for the county for 20 years, and I think that right now we have the best collaboration and cooperation and with OmniRide that we've had in the 20 years I've been.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. I certainly agree with that and appreciate that. And was not intending to say that it hasn't been happening. It's just we want to make sure that that continues, and I think it's certainly increased and is being really effective, especially in the past few years. So I want to build on that momentum.
Yep, I agree. Thank you.
All right. Any final questions or comments for Lucas or Perrin for that matter? I know Perrin was able to join us, so he's back on.
Yep, I'm still here.
All right. Any final comments from you, Lucas, before we bring it to a close?
No, thank you so much for the input and participation. It is really important that we hear from you all, and that's the best way to get the word out through our community is through the people that they have existing relationships with. So we look forward to more partnerships, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. And thanks, Perrin, too. And I'll wrap up by saying thanks very much to everyone for joining. I think it was a really great and comprehensive group, and we had some great discussions and some great action items, and continued opportunities for outreach certainly came out of this. So appreciate everybody joining very much, and have a great Wednesday.